Welcome to Baby Boomer Tales. My name is Jim. Today we are going to do my very favorite TV shows, Volume 3. Volume 3 includes the decade of the 90s and the decade of the 2000s, year 2000 to 2010. This may be the last time I do one of these. I noticed when I got to about 2000, I had fewer new shows that I was watching. So we'll just see how this comes out. I've got 45 shows here, so I better get a move on. I want you to remember that these are just my favorite. So if you don't hear me say something like Friends, for example, that is because that was not one of my favorite shows. I know, okay, you can stop booing me now. That's fine. There's a few of them here that you'll wonder why in the world I didn't like them. I just didn't. Now, I went through on Wikipedia. They have every season of television. This is only ABC, NBC, CBS. And I did include later on in this, about halfway through the 90s, some Fox shows. But that's all. No streaming, no offbeat networks or any of that. Just the major networks, like when we started with all this back in the 50s. So here goes. We'll start in the TV season 1990 through 1991. Murphy Brown, Old Murph, Frank, Jim, Corky, Miles, and Murphy Goes Home to Eldon. We also have In the Heat of the Night. I believe Carroll O'Connor showed his acting prowess with this, changing from Archie Bunker to Sheriff Gillespie was a major difference. 30-something. I liked that show. I think it was about 3 different couples, maybe one single guy. I can't really remember the premise of it, but they were in their 30s. I watched this when I was in my very early 40s, just had left my 30s. And the last one on this television season was The Cosby Show. Oh, Cliff Huxtable. 1991 through 92 television season. We have The Wonder Years, Kevin, Paul, Winnie. Growing Pains with Kirk Cameron, and later they introduced Leonardo DiCaprio. He was just a kid back then. Cheers, Sam and Diane, Cliff and Norm. I guess you could throw old Frasier in there if you wanted. And the last one in this television season, Doogie Howser, MD. 1992 through 93 television season. Evening Shade, Herman Stiles. Northern Exposure, Flashman and O'Connell. Roseanne, and Jerry Van Dyke was an actor in the show Coach. 1993 through 1994 TV season, Seinfeld. Home Improvement with Tool Time. Murder, She Wrote, Angela Lansbury. And a show from a little town called Rome, Wisconsin. The TV show was called Picket Fences. It was kind of an oddball show. Weird things happened in that little town, if you can remember it. When I came across that, all of a sudden I did remember some of them. 94 through 95 TV season, Law and Order. Now this show lasted for years and years and years, and I think there might still be a form of it. But I remember the one with McCoy and Curtis and Briscoe. Remember them? Touched by an Angel. Angels do walk this earth. I do believe that. The X-Files with Mulder and Scully. It was on Fox. This was the first one that I found on Fox. Other small networks were popping up, but Fox had some shows on it that I couldn't ignore. And the last one on this season, ER. Nurse Hathaway, Dr. Green. Many different characters on that show, and that lasted a long time. 95 through 96 TV season. This one was set in Cleveland, The Drew Carey Show. The 1996 through 97 TV season, Third Rock from the Sun, that'd be the Earth. Everybody Loves Raymond. The old man in there, the grandpa or Raymond's dad, was played by Peter Boyle. He played Frank Barone. Peter Boyle was a good friend of John Lennon's. Little trivia there if you didn't know that. 97 through 98 TV season. The Practice is about a Boston law firm. Early Edition with Kyle Chandler, who later would star in Friday Night Lights. If you remember this show, it kind of always started with you could hear something hit the door, and then a cat would go meow. And the guy would go open the door, and there's a newspaper laying on the doorstep, and it always had something that this guy had to go rescue somebody. It's a little bit science fiction. Survivor, and it's still going to this very day. I've stopped watching it because they intruded music so much into it that it distracted me and I didn't like it anymore. And I was a huge Survivor fan for years and years and years. The tribe has spoken. 98 through 99 TV season. The King of Queens with Kevin James. And Ted Danson was Becker. Now, I like Ted Danson in Becker much more than I've liked him in anything else, including Cheers. He was great in Becker. If you never watched it, find it on some streaming channel. You may be glad you did. The 1999 through 2000 TV season, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Now, I only like the ones with Regis. It may still be going in some different form on some cable channel somewhere, but the ones with Regis were good. And there's a show about a family court judge called Judging Amy. I did like that one. 2000 through 2001 TV season. Ed is about a bowling alley lawyer. When I say that, he's a lawyer. He bought a bowling alley, but he set up practice in his office in the bowling alley. 2001 through 02 TV season. The Amazing Race. That one's still going too. And I quit watching it just a few years ago. It just wore me out. As I got older, it just wore me out. It was a lot of adrenaline. They went to all kinds of places in the world, and you could see some culture because of it. It was pretty cool. I did like it. I did enjoy it. 2002 through 2003 TV season. It started out on Fox, and it was there till 2016. American Idol. Kelly Clarkson was the first champion of that show. Since 2017, it's been on ABC. 2003 to 2004 TV season, Cold Case. You know, these police departments have cold cases that they never solve, maybe quite old, maybe 20 years old or so. And this show was about that, trying to reopen a cold case and solve it. I think they were pretty successful, or they wouldn't have had a show, right? 2004 through 2005. Lost is about a plane crashed on some kind of weird remote island. It borderlined science fiction. Remember Hurley? He was my favorite character on that, for sure. And here's one about an antisocial doctor. Pretty smart guy, but he was tripped out, that's for sure. House. It seems like a lot of the medical shows, the doctors are kind of way out there in their behavior or something. At least the ones I watch. 2005 through 2006 TV season. I love this show. I almost could relate with it. How I Met Your Mother. About a guy and his friends. One couple that he lived with for a while were married. A buddy that thought he was God's gift to women. And this poor guy looking for love. It was on for years and years. He did finally find love. 2006 through 07 TV season. This is a summer show. America's Got Talent. I've always liked this show. Mostly I like the auditions. By the time it gets to the championship rounds, I stay with them, but the auditions is what's the great part of this show. I want to say one thing about Simon Cowell. 2007 through '08 TV season, The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon and Leonard, and one of my favorite shows of all time, one of them, I would think The Wonder Years, this one, and Northern Exposure are three of my very favorite shows. This one is Friday Night Lights. It's about a high school football coach in Dillon, Texas. And if you didn't know it, Texas is high school football's kingdom. Yeah, kingdom's a good word for it. It's a great show. It really is. It's off of a movie that was a book before the movie. 2008 through 2009 TV season, The Mentalist. It's about a fake psychic or washed up psychic or whatever. He goes to work for the FBI. It's pretty good. I do like that. And the other one is Bones. That was a Fox show also. And how they could solve cases by finding some old dried bones. 2009 through 2010 TV season. Our final one on this. Parks and Rec. I liked the cast of Parks and Rec very, very much. And it was the first thing I ever saw Rob Lowe in that I liked him. The Good Wife. That was Nurse Hathaway from ER. All of a sudden now she's a lawyer and her husband was a bum. And the last one on this, something that as far as a sitcom, one of the last great sitcoms of our time. It's hard to find sitcoms anymore. It really is. I'm trying a couple of them for this TV season and the jury's still out. But I took to this one like a duck takes to water. Very, very good. The Middle. Frankie Heck. Remember her? Possibly the most quirky character in the world was Brick Heck. But everyone in that show, every one of the characters, was a work of art. I don't know how they ever came up with such great, memorable characters. But that was one of the hallmarks of the old sitcoms. To find a sitcom today in 2024, you'll be hard-pressed to find anything, in my opinion. Now, you might have some that I just cannot relate with that you really like on a sitcom. One of the things that I really like in the older sitcoms, the ones I really, really like, and it started probably in the 80s when they started doing things in front of a live studio audience and there was no laugh track. And then things like, well, the latest one I can think of is Young Sheldon, how that did comedy without a laugh track. Seinfeld was a master at it. I don't like those laugh tracks. The canned laughter is it just upsets me. They're trying to tell me when I should laugh. I like the live studio audiences one. Carol Burnett. That show would have been terrible with a laugh track. The Carol Burnett show, remember that? I'm sure I covered that years ago. So I don't know. It's almost a dinosaur, a lost art form, the sitcom. My list used to be full of them, and in the 90s there were still some good sitcoms. But sad for me, there are no more. Oh well, everything changes. Absolutely everything changes. I think I've even changed. I've been told I do, or have. Now, that is by a person that's very close to me that I guess she wanted me to be young and with it all my life. Well, looking at myself, I know I'm not young, but I thought I was pretty with it. But I know I'm not. It happens to you. Your priorities change as you grow older. Maybe your tastes in TV shows do also. I know I don't like a lot of those streaming shows, the cussing and the just plumb insult your intelligence. Maybe I should say insult your humanity. Now they must have an audience because they do it, and they do it when it isn't even something that would go along with the show. But they're not going to have me in that audience, or at least I try to stay away from it as much as possible. I'd rather listen to a podcast. But I'm sure out there in the podcast world you have the same thing. Oh well. All I can say is, through it all, try to be kind. It really shows what you're made out of. Thank you for riding along today. Like old Roy Rogers would always say, happy trails to you, my friend. I use that when I say goodbye to a friend or loved one that has traveled to the other side. But I'm saying that for all of us right now. Let our trails be happy. Let us tackle it all with a smile on our face. So I'll be back next Wednesday. That's the plan. Peace out.